Good morning, everybody. I think we're live. I did it. It was a little more efficient than I was last week. Let me click over to the comments. We'll see if anybody's coming in. So first of all, I want to welcome everyone to the first in the series of 2024 Creative and Business Goals. I've been on quite a business journey this last year. I would say both business-wise and creatively, and I thought it would be a really fun thing to make a series where I can hold myself accountable. Sorry, the gardener's here right now. If it's super loud, hopefully it's not too loud. But I thought it would be a fun way to keep myself accountable and maybe encourage each other in the process. And it doesn't have to be limited to business goals or creative goals. That's just sort of where I am. But of course, you know, I have goals on, you know, walking and keeping healthy and drinking water and organizing. So there's a lot of goals. There's a lot of goals. So let's see. First of all, a little bit about myself. Hopefully we'll have some people join in here. Let me go make sure too. Okay, everything's good. So a little bit about myself. First of all, my name is Julie, and this is Daunting Vintage Company. And sort of my journey as a businesswoman, a small business owner, I had a very active handmade shop on Etsy for, gosh, maybe 11 years called Pearly Girl. Was very busy, was not unusual for us to have 50 open orders, sometimes 200 plus at busy gifting times of the year, Christmas, Father's Day, you know, spring christening and baptisms and whatnot. So I do have a background in running an online business, I think very successful online business, and being a maker, self-taught maker. So I had, you know, sometimes life just throws things at you and you have to roll with the punches and you have to change a little bit. Hi, Debbie. Debbie's here. Hello, my friend, my soul sister. So yeah, I had family members that needed my love and attention. So I had to take a step back from Pearly Girl. I also think too, at the time, it really ran my life. It ran my family's life. Having such a busy business really took over things. I didn't have much time for anything else. Didn't have time for friends. I didn't have time. I was just managing. I was managing the business and my family. My husband helped out in the business. We had several assistants over the years, which was great to have. But yeah, my mom and stepdad needed me. And so I quickly put it on vacation mode, my Etsy shop, and went to be with them and to help them. They and passed away, and so I was an only child, so I had their estate to settle, and moving them. They lived in a different state, and so all the things that come with that. And then my mother-in-law was diagnosed with dementia, and she needed our full-time care, our full-time 24-hour care. So I went from, you know, helping my parents and through that end of life process, and then helping take care of my mother-in-law. So I ended up, Daunting Vintage Company for me was always a part-time business. I love collecting vintage. I've been a big, long-time thrifter and collector and lover of vintage. My mom was too. My mom more so antiques and primitive, but that was something that we enjoyed together. And so I had Day Trip Vintage Company open on Etsy for a number of years, but it was just something fun. I love to go to estate sales or go, thrift shopping, and I would pick things up here and there, take a photo and throw it up, but not super active in terms of that. And so yeah, when I sort of took a hiatus from Pearly Girl and helping to take care of my mother-in-law, I thought, let's look into Day Trip Vintage Company as maybe something I can do part-time. That wouldn't be a full-time job. I'd still be available to help take care of my mother-in-law. So for a period of time, I did live sales with my friend Kate of Releve Vintage. We had a morning show that we did Friday mornings for, maybe a number of years. Debbie, do you remember? I don't know how many years we had that going on. So it's just been a process. Last year, I took a step back and I had a lot of vintage that I inherited from my mom. So some of my inventory was inventory that maybe 2, right? Yes, I think Kate and I did that for 2 years, and it was so fun. We were just texting the other day and saying how much we miss our coffee time, vintage, just we miss that. We miss hanging out on our Friday mornings together. My mom did. My mom had such an eye, and we didn't know my mom was ill. We knew my stepdad was ill, and we were sort of making preparations for that. The plan had been for my mom to move back to California. They lived in Wyoming, and she was, diagnosed and passed very quickly. My stepdad 4 days after her, which was kind of a blessing. And he didn't need to go into hospice and all of that, because that would have been really difficult for him. So we had 4 weeks to basically clean their house out before our youngest started back to high school. And it was very difficult. We donated probably 99% of the household. Anything that wasn't kind of vintage antique, or my husband is a gem of a man, and I said, I just can't make a decision on this stuff. I knew what it meant to my mom. A lot of the pieces, I was with her when she found them and collected them, and it was something we both enjoyed. So we found a guy that would would move the stuff. We packed up anything we wanted to bring back to California, and it all ended up in our garage, along with a Toyota truck that the mover towed behind. It was crazy, which was great, because that will be my son's car when actually he has his driving test today. So if you are a believer in positive thoughts and prayers or whatever, think good thoughts for him this afternoon. Will be he's having his behind the wheel test. So anyway, I don't even know what I was saying. Yes, so we found a mover, and so I jumped back into the live sales. So I was working on inventory that I had originally purchased for Day Trip Vintage Company. My mom's things, obviously, I kept a lot of my mom's things. So it wasn't like I was selling, this refrigerator behind me. My mom is all around us. We have so many of my mom's wonderful things in our house, and thankful to have them. And my stepdad's too. A lot of things. My stepdad was an only child, so a lot of inherited things from his family as well. So yeah, Kate and I were doing these sales, and I was kind of working through my mom's inventory, but not really working on Etsy. The live sales really didn't leave a lot of time for me in my schedule to do both, to actively work my Etsy shop. So my mother-in-law started needing me more, and it wasn't feasible for me to keep doing the live sales, because we were doing 24-hour care. I was her full-time daytime caregiver until my husband and my brother-in-law, were off of work at night, and they were sleeping at her home each night. So it was a lot. So this past year, when I entered into 2023, I really felt like I have all this stuff. It was kind of weighing me down. And I was still, my mother-in-law, we transitioned her to memory care. Sorry, this is very long. Just kind of my background. So we transitioned her to memory care, but there's still a lot that comes with that, we handle all her bills and her, just everything, her medication, her doctor's appointments, all that stuff. So it doesn't end there. They are taking such beautiful, wonderful care of her, but there is still a lot involved in, you know, keeping her, loved and healthy and her well-being. So, so this past year I went into 2023 and I was like, I'm going to really work my day trip vintage Etsy shop. And I started listing and I started getting lots, not a lot of sales, but I started getting sales and it felt good. I'm like, every time I always say, another thing is leaving the house. I know, Debbie. We were so blessed. We had kind of done a little bit of the groundwork before. We didn't want to be taken by surprise, right? We wanted to, even though we weren't at the point of her needing memory care, we just, you don't want something just to be an emergency. You want to be able to plan things out. And we wanted to know that if she eventually needed it, that she was somewhere that was really, really good, that was, she would be well taken care of and lovingly well taken care of. So we were, very, very blessed. She had a long hospital stay so this past December, she's been in memory care for a year. So she had a long hospital stay, and we knew we weren't going to be able to bring her home and care for her. We're not medical professionals. None of us have nursing background, and her needs were changing. So we transitioned her into memory care, and it's been good. So even though she was there, Etsy, working my Etsy shop and kind of getting out from under stuff. And if I'm truthful, being a collector, I bought a lot of stuff during COVID. I bought a lot of stuff online. I bought stuff from, YouTube sales. I was actively going to flea markets and estate sales frequently because I needed to have inventory for the YouTube sales. So it wasn't only my mom's and inventory that I had from past years of having my shop. I was actively building it, and I just kind of started feeling like a lot. It was weighing me down. We couldn't park in the garage. We still can't park in the garage, but that was my goal last year. I want to be able to park in the garage. And so I had bins of stuff that was my mom's and not so much my stuff. It kind of fit into this cabinet here next to me. But I emptied all, it was a process, emptying all the bins, putting everything out on flat surfaces. Every flat surface in the garage had stuff on it. We brought a lot of furniture back from my mom's. My mom not only had beautiful collectibles, we had furniture that belonged to my grandparents and pieces my mom had picked up. And I wasn't ready to let a lot of that go too. I knew I needed to make a decision on the pieces that would fit into our house. And I know, well, maybe my kids might want some of it when they, move into their first apartment. So everything was covered. And over the course of last year, I got down to basically, I have these two shelves. It was like these continual two shelves on a, like kind of one of those Home Depot metal kind of shelving. The bottom two are books. That's a whole nother topic of conversation, vintage books and ephemera. But I had these two shelves, and I would pull things from other places, and it would go onto these shelves. I had the two shelves. I also have two dressers that were my mom's. One is mostly full of paper and ephemera and like crafting junk journal type stuff. And one of the dressers still does have a little bit of inventory, linens and that kind of stuff. So fully accountable. I still have those, but those 2 shelves, there's empty space. In fact, this morning I had like a tiered thing and I got rid of that. And now it's like one level on one of the shelves, and there's craft supplies on the shelf too. So, and some home decor stuff of ours, it's sort of on there. So really proud of myself. I'm really proud of myself. I stuck to it. I did buy some things last year. I wish I hadn't done a couple, flea market trips with my husband. I don't think we did much estate sale shopping. Kind of stayed away from that, but yeah, those flea markets, they call to me. So anyway, I'm talking. I'm 15 minutes into probably too much information, but that's sort of in a nutshell. I think I covered most things. So going into this year, I was very excited about the thought of, okay, I'm really focused on my Etsy shop. I focused on the vintage reselling side of things. And I was really feeling a draw to get back to making and creating. I loved having my business Pearly Girl. On so many levels. It was satisfying. The other thing I loved about it is that I was making these, it was personalized keychains, bookmarks, a little bit of jewelry, but these pieces were, monograms, and they were wedding gifts, and they were baptism gifts, and they were special pieces that meant something special to the receiver, to the giver and the receiver. And I was really feeling this pull to create, to make. I think that's a big part of me. And I started that a little over the years. I would make stuff and have it the live sales, but not really coming back in as sort of a business. So the end of last year, I started making some assemblages. I love the vintage style. I think I started maybe Halloween, fall-ish, and I had launched some pieces. And I really, going into this year, I want to continue that. That is my happy place, is making and creating. So yeah, I thought I didn't really have a business plan last year. It was just moving stuff out of the house. I also used Facebook. I have found a local consignment shop. I think at the end of last year, I started utilizing that. So I'm kind of utilizing all these avenues to just sort of get out from under stuff. And I was successful at that. So this year I'm looking at what are my business goals and what are my goals as a creative, right? Or as a maker. So yeah, so I guess I'll just go over kind of what I wrote. And I have to say the writing down of the business goals was motivating in itself. With Pearly Girl, I was just flying by the seat of my pants. We were so blessed and lucky. It was timing. I don't know what it was, but we never advertised. We put it up and it sold. And we would have, custom requests for wording or different things people would ask us to make. And, I would think, oh, okay, that's pretty cool. I think other people would like it. And another listing would be born, right? We'd take a picture before we would send it out. So it was very organic, the way that business evolved. A lot of hard work, blood, sweat, and tears, but it was an organic business that kind of had a life of its own in a way. Not that we didn't work hard, boy, we worked very hard at it. Had to make a lot of sacrifices too to have a business that's that busy because it really does, take away from other things. So, oh gosh, sometimes I lose track. So yeah, just the writing. So I never had like a business plan for that business. I just did. It was intuitive, and it worked and it grew. But coming into this year, I thought, it is time for a business plan, because I've decreased my vintage inventory. That was my big focus last year, and I'm still doing it. I'm not quite there. I'm still in the process of doing that, but because I want to add the making and coming back to making and selling products that I'm making. I thought it's time it's time for a business plan. So, and anybody that's come in, hello, I'm so glad you're here, and welcome. And Debbie says, I'm so happy to hear you will be making again. I love how you incorporate vintage items into your creations. Yes. And Pearly Girl, I was a metalsmith, and I was a self-taught metalsmith, and it had that vibe. It had that, I don't know, I worked in copper a lot, so it had that little kind of vintage, rustic, kind of vibe. But Day Trip Vintage Company, creating under that umbrella, it's really taking my love of vintage and incorporating that as much as I can into the pieces that I make. Hi, Shirlene, welcome. I am so glad you're here. Welcome. In fact, let me show a couple things. So these are a couple, this is kind of what I've been up to. This is what I've been up to as far as the things that I'm creating as a Day Trip Vintage Company. And there's actually a tutorial up on my YouTube channel for these. And I've been stash busting. So I found 3 more of these little birds a couple weeks ago, and I thought, you know what, I need to make those, get those out of my, get those out of the drawer, get those out of my my craft stash. So I sold one this past weekend, which I was really excited about, and I have 2 more, and I'm listing them one at a time because they're different. Creating and using vintage, it's very hard to replicate closely. Sometimes it's hard to, replicate closely. And I love putting, I like putting hats on birds and animals and stuff. So this is just kind of an example of the stuff I'm doing. So, and I do want to say too, kind of taking a step back, what I see for sort of this series going forward is having a monthly check-in. So the last Thursday of the month, we will have a monthly check-in. And let's see, the upcoming, so the next one will be on February 29th. So this is sort of an overview. I'm hoping some people get aboard, come aboard with us, and we'll be having a monthly check-in with monthly topics. So next week, I'm thinking a good topic of conversation is organization. How do we organize our craft supplies? How do we organize our vintage inventory? What is working well for me? What is working well for all of you? So that will be the topic next week. And I love to have some input of things that you would all love to hear us talk about. So if you're watching the replay, you can write it in the comments. Maybe you're intimidated about getting started opening an Etsy shop. Maybe you've wanted to venture out and start selling on eBay. Oh, good, Charlene. You like that topic? Now, are you interested in organization when it comes to crafting, when it comes to reselling? Let me know, because I'm going to take notes. I'm going to take notes as we're going on. So let me know. And I think we all need that, right? We all need help. I was like trying to reorganize our pantry the other day because it's terrible and it's embarrassing. I don't like when people come over and the door's open and it's terrible. It really is embarrassing. So, okay, so I'm going to kind of, these are the things that I wrote down. And so, and some of them are, maybe you might say, oh, well, that's not a very big goal. But sometimes, it doesn't have to be a big goal. Sometimes it's the meeting that goal and maybe exceeding it. That kind of, it makes us feel good. Reselling. Okay, good. Yeah, we're definitely going to be touching on reselling a lot. I'm not an expert in eBay, but I know Etsy, having sold on Etsy for so many years. And I would love to kind of pull people in. I know we have people in our community here in the vintage community that maybe know eBay well, or are further along than maybe some of us are. I have friends that are kind of further along in the journey of reselling, and they're looking at cost of goods sold. They're looking at all kinds of other things that I'm not looking at, because I kind of feel like I'm maybe year 2 in this process of Day Trip Vintage Company as a business, beyond doing live sales. Good. Crafting organization. Yeah, I have I'm in the process of changing completely how I store my crafting supplies. And it's been much better, because that's a mess too. Okay, so these are my business goals. This is what I came up with this past week in writing everything down. So my goal is to post 3 new or renewed listings to Etsy per day. There are some days, like yesterday, I have things I photographed, but I did not get to putting up new listings. You know, every day is different. I have a husband and kids, and just stuff is going on. So I don't beat myself up about it. I typically have listings that have expired, that are sitting and need to be renewed. So the days that I can't get to putting a brand new listing up, I'll go in, I let them expire. I don't do automated renewals. I let them expire, and I go in and I clean up the listing. I tweak it a little bit. I may have things that I've added to, generic things I've added to my descriptions. I'm constantly updating that and changing it. So I'll tweak it, and I'll make those changes. So the days I can't get to renew, I have enough to renew. So that's, and I have found that over time, I've been able to build up the number of listings over time by just doing that 3 a day. Sometimes it's just 5 days a week. Sometimes the weekends I have more free time, and I can get to it better. The other thing that one of my goals is to maintain a minimum of 100 Etsy listings. So when I first started back last January, a year ago, I don't know, I maybe had like 20 listings, something like that. And so I really found once I got up to 100, the sales started coming more. So I would like to that's kind of been a sweet spot for me, 100 to 125, because I want my business to be a combination of handmade and vintage. I don't want my footprint to get large again. I don't want it to overtake our garage. We have a 3-bedroom home. Both our kids are home. Our youngest is in high school, and our oldest is in college, but going to college locally. So I don't have a craft room. I don't have an office. I'm sitting in our dining room right now. This is kind of my crafty space, is our dining room. So places that I can store things, craft inventory, vintage inventory, are limited. So that was part of too, of feeling like I had too much. It was too much, and I need to simplify. Okay, so that's good. So you're working on listing, 5 items a day, and that's great. There's some days where I can do 5. I find weekends, for some reason, I can get more done, and that's because my son's not driving yet, so I have the the commuting back and forth to school every day. That kind of like, next thing I know, I'm doing that. So that's great. 5. So Charlene, it would be really interesting as part of this process for you to go through and, if you're interested, do your business goals, and 5 5 would be on that list. Let's see. Hi, Nettie. Hello. Hello. Welcome. So Nettie is one of our good friends here in the community, and she's local. She's in California here. So I'm lucky to have her close by as a friend. Let's see. Bye, Debbie. Have a good day. Love you. We need to catch up. We need to catch up soon. Let's see here. Let's see. Most days I do 10 to 15. I just retired. Oh my gosh, Charlene. That's amazing. I can't even, I don't know why. I'm very slow at listing. I don't think I've ever done 10 to 10 to 15 in a day, even if I have like the whole day to myself, which I guess isn't very often. So you're a rock star with that 10 to 15. I'm in awe of people that can do a lot. I photograph quickly. I edit my photographs really quickly. I get really bogged down in the writing of the description. Maybe that would be a good topic of conversation one of the months. Yeah, good. Okay, so I would like to kind of, that's been a sweet spot for me, 100 to 125 listings. Obviously, a lot of you, Charlene, who's retired and she's reselling full time, your goal will be your minimum maintenance level will be much higher than me. The other thing that I want to concentrate is meeting and beating my 2023 monthly Etsy earnings. This is one thing I did do for my handmade business, Pearly Girl. It was as simple as just writing, okay, what did I make a year ago last January, and writing that on my calendar. And there's something about having that visual reminder. Sometimes it pushes you. Sometimes it, push you to, put more listings up or come up with a new design. It really does. For me, having that visual, even though that business is very busy, there are times of the year where you just automatically slow down, and it would push me to think, okay, things are a little quiet, things are a little slow. All right, I'm going to take this time to come up with a new product. And it really did. So that's something I didn't do it last year because last year was really the first year I was really working my Etsy shop for Day Trip Vintage. So that's one thing I'm implementing. I've already done it for this month. I went and looked up, and I need to go back. I'm going to do it some kind of cute way because it's on my on my desk. But I'm happy to say I already beat last January's number, so I can already check off that box. Oh, see, that's really cool. Maybe Charlene, you'd want to come on and talk about eBay. That would be really great. Maybe that's something we can talk about. See, I didn't even know this whole AI description thing. I wonder, it would be great if Etsy would do that. Yeah, maybe I could do the 10 to 15 if I just was by myself in a room, and I have kids walking through, and my husband, and cooking dinner, all those things that happen in a day, and phone calls and things that kind of pull you away. Yeah, that would be fun. So maybe let's talk about it. Let's talk about that. My other goal, business side, and maybe this is creative too, is I'd like to launch one new handmade product on Etsy each month. And yeah, something new, something brand new. The other thing is I would love to sell, and this isn't a very big goal, but I'd like to sell one handmade item on Etsy per month. I'm happy to say I checked that box. I posted some new handmade items this past weekend, and I sold one. That's interesting. Like the vintage, I love when my vintage things sell, but there was something special about that that made me happy kind of in a different way. I want to continue to utilize Facebook Marketplace to move oversized furniture items and the local consignment store that I found for items that have become stagnant on Etsy. I have things that I bought, I don't even know, 6 years ago. I don't know when I opened Day Trip as the Etsy shop. I have to go back and look, but I have things that I bought so many years ago and have just been sitting there. Now, fun thing is some of those things have sold this year, and I think it's because I got my listings up to 100. I just never had enough in my shop to, I think, bring enough traffic in. So some of those things have sold, but some are, I'm tired of looking at them, right? And then you think, oh my gosh, I've relisted these how many times over the years? And I've paid listing fees on these like every 4 months for how many years? So yeah, sometimes you're just ready to let it go. It just feels stagnant. Or to add on to that too, things that maybe I've inherited from my mom, or things that just don't fit the curation of my shop. I'm kind of picky. I like my, I feel like my Etsy shop has a look and a feel. And so some things just kind of don't fit. They don't fit anymore. Maybe they're super mid-century modern, which I do decorate a lot in mid-century modern in that boho feel, but I'm noticing over time, they're not fitting. They're not fitting as well. Hi, Angela. You did? Okay, good. I'm glad you got my message. I messaged Angela this morning. So Angela, please make a point of going to follow Angela on Instagram. And she's on Instagram as Dear Angela's Vintage. And Angela is so sweet. She keeps a monthly calendar of those of us on YouTube that do live sales and other types of content. And it is amazing. She's been doing it, I don't know, since the lockdown, and it's amazing. She puts a lot of time and effort into it. And so it's great if you're like, oh, I don't have anything to do today, or I want to check out a new channel, or I want to watch a sale, whatever it is, go to her Instagram page and the calendar is in there. So I asked her if she could add me back to the calendar since I've had a hiatus from YouTube. So that is so fun. Isn't that is one of the best things about this whole vintage, I don't know, I don't even want to say community, but just this love of vintage, how many of us have found really fabulous, special friends, people that we consider super good friends, and now we're lucky enough to be able to meet up with, and it's just amazing. Yeah, like Nettie. Nettie's close by. Nettie and I, we've gone on trips together. We have a fun little group here in California. We've spent weekends together. We've shopped together. Yeah, really fun. And we're probably due for another trip, I think, right? We need to come up with a fun, like, I think we were talking about doing Palm Springs or something at one point. So that's it. Those are my business goals. They're short and sweet. They're manageable. They're doable. They fit with this season of life that I'm in right now. I'm always reminded that I can only do what I'm able to do in this season of life. I'm a mom. Both of my kids are home. My husband works crazy hours. He always has. Sometimes he works 7 days a week. And so for the season of life that I'm in, this is perfect, and I think doable. And it gives me, goals to do better. Obviously, I'm always trying to do better. Let's see. I'm going to go through these really quick. I'm going to take. Okay. Well, we're pretty good. We're 39 minutes in. Good. Let's plan it. Okay. So kind of this taking the creative and the business. There's ongoing things. So I have ongoing business organizational goals because I'm still in this process of wanting to decrease my vintage inventory footprint in my house. So refining my listing process. I implemented a unlisted inventory cart this past year. I had two crafting carts. One of them's here. I didn't need two crafting carts. I was like tripping over it all the time in the dining room. And so I emptied one, and it has become my unlisted inventory cart. And I kind of keep it where my little photograph area. So that's something else we can talk about. You know, what does organization look like on the reselling? Do you have a spot that you photograph? Do you have a spot where you pack your orders? Like all those things to make it more efficient is what we're trying to do. So that was something that I implemented that's been working really, really well for me. I was finding I was pulling lots of things from the garage, and I would dump them on my dining room table, things I wanted to photograph and list, or I would dump them on my photograph station. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And it was overwhelming. It was overwhelming me because sometimes I anticipate, oh, I'm going to get to all this today, or I'm going to get to all this week, and I don't. And so that was overwhelming me. So just these little things to kind of, keep everything, so it doesn't explode, like it's not a big explosion. The other thing that I'm really trying hard is to not do any active resale sourcing in January through March. So the first 3 months of this year, I'm really going to try to not do any active resale sourcing. I'm staying away from flea markets. I'm not going to any estate sales. I'm going to try really hard to stay out of the thrift stores. If I do go in, I'm going to be very, very, very picky. It has to be something I know is a good seller for me. I don't know. It has to hit a lot of boxes for me to pick up something to resell. Full disclosure, I did buy one thing to resell. My husband and I went out. We were shopping, birthday gift shopping for a dear sweet friend and who likes vintage. And so we had hit up a couple local places, and it was so good. I didn't buy anything. Oh no, I did buy one thing. The first place, but it was for me. It was for decorating. And so I did pick up something to resell, but it's something that sells really, really well consistently for me in my shop. And I knew, I was like, yeah, this pays for these other things, right? So I told my husband, like, oh, I'm breaking my rule, but I think that's okay. That one, that one thing. Yes, manageable is the key. Yeah. And to not overwhelm ourselves. Let's see. No active. I'm continuing to clear out my garage, clear out the garage inventory. I'm still looking to eventually park at least one car, hopefully 2 cars in the garage. And I'm close. Once I've completed the inventory, I would love to not have any Etsy inventory at all, vintage inventory at all in the garage. I don't want it to be in the garage eventually. That is a goal. And that seems like a hard goal for us, that we don't have any extra bedrooms, but it's doable. Once I've kind of cleared that out, I'll start shopping my shelves, my own collection. I have little hidey holes all over the house where I have things stuck and shoved. And a lot of that too is higher priced items. So that's a good thing too. It'll get that, those monthly numbers up. Yeah, and as part of that, continuing to lessen my inventory footprint, is my end goal is to have all my listed vintage inventory in one cabinet. I have a big credenza. I've talked about it a couple times in our living room. It's not a tall cabinet. It's a long credenza. It's actually thrifted piece of furniture. I got it for like next to nothing. It's beautiful. It's probably like a piece of office furniture made of walnut. it weighs 1,000,000 tons. I don't even know how we picked it up at the thrift store and got in our house. I don't think we, my husband and I would not be able to do that. I don't even know. We put it in the minivan, I think, and somehow got it in here, but it weighs a ton. It has 2 filing drawers. It has like sliding cabinet drawers. And so my goal is to, everything that's listed has to fit in there. If I don't have room, if it is at max capacity, I can't fit another single thing in, then I don't need to be out picking and buying more things. And I have space in there. I've sold some bigger items the last couple of weeks. So that is my ultimate. Everything in that one place. Yeah, and as I start to actively purchase vintage for resale as the year continues, I want to be very mindful of how I process it. I have to have room on my unlisted inventory cart. I don't want it to take up my dining room table anymore or overflow into the garage or other places of the house. I want to keep it contained. So same thing, if I don't have room in my cabinet and I don't have room in my inventory cart, then I should not be out buying. I want to be very mindful of that. Because I've also introduced the fact that I am crafting and I'm crafting with vintage. I have picked up a ton of crafting supply inventory. What do I want to say? Sometimes with the crafting, especially when it's vintage stuff, it's like if you see it, you feel like you have to pounce on it. So that's the other thing. I want to be mindful of the craft supplies that I'm bringing in. Let me take a little bit of a drink. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, I'm going to jump over here. So these are my creative goals. Part of that, my creative goals was coming back to YouTube. I missed YouTube. I missed my live tutorials. I missed teaching you guys how to make things. So this series is going to just be once a month on the last Thursday of the month. It will be live like it is today. But the other Thursdays of the month will be craft tutorials, vintage inspired. It's a continuation of my series or my show called Vintage Craft and Chat. So part of the creative side was coming back to YouTube, and I love it. I love crafting with you all. I love inspiring. I love being inspired. I love pushing myself to work in new mediums or try something new or challenge myself to say, oh, there's this really cool vintage thing. I've gone and done hacks. Well, how can I make this? How can I make this cute little 1950s like awesome cuteness? How can I do that myself? It's hard to find these vintage things. So yeah, that was part of my part of the creative side. It forces me to make the time to be creative and to play, because I find that this whole last year wasn't giving myself the time to do it because I was driven to decrease my vintage inventory. Hi, Kathy. Hello. You have a baby palette filled with headband hat parts that could be used for assemblages. What does that mean, palette? Is that like a big wooden palette? That's the other thing. I was gifted, I have an amazing local friend that gifts me amazing vintage things and amazing vintage craft supplies. I think we all know who that is. And yeah, so my stash grew to a crazy level. the past couple years. And of course I'm like, oh my gosh, thank you, thank you, thank you. Because we love this stuff. We want to play with it. We want to be the keeper. A small one that I put wheels on. Wow. Well, Kathy, Kathy makes the cutest, most amazing headbands. She makes them, she's made them for a couple friends here in the community. I just saw, right? Wasn't it Valentine ones that you just posted? So she makes them. Go to her. You're just Kathy Wiseman on Instagram, right? Go to Kathy's Instagram page, and she makes the cutest headbands, and she'll do, Easter theme and St. Patrick's Day theme, and they're so cute. And I think, like, I don't know, it is a big step to think about, selling on Etsy or selling on eBay, but they're so cute. They're so cute, Kathy. I think last year I was trying to say, you should open up an Etsy shop and sell these, or come on to live sales. Okay, Mulligan Wiseman. You can find her on there as that. Yeah, and look at her headbands. They're super cute. Or come on to live sales. Maybe you need to come on here one day and sell your headbands, which would be fun. It should be fun. Let's see. Well, this was kind of the other thing. Sell one handmade, item per month. That's kind of a crossover, but I don't know. It's hard when I have like the business and the creative. Cha-ching, I did that. Check mark. I did that this month. So I'm kind of like, the pressure is off. I've hit that. I also want to implement stash busting. So I want to shop my supplies. I want to find inspiration in the supplies I have, because again, they're an explosion in the house. They're taking over everywhere. They've crept into the garage now. They're in this big cabinet next to me that used to hold my vintage inventory. They're in every dresser and thing in this. So that's the other thing. I want to be really mindful about any new crafting supplies that I bring in the house. I know for sure I'm going to use them, or maybe they may be something that I can list in my Etsy shop. I do have vintage craft supplies listed on Etsy too. So that's the other thing. It's not just the vintage reselling. I want to be really mindful of craft supplies that I'm continuing to bring in and hoard. I want to make sure I'm using them. So be inspired by my craft supplies. I would love to play with one new medium per month. I mean, that might be watercolor. That might be paper clay. That might be, there's a lot of things that I really want to push myself to try. And that one's going to be hard. But I hope as the year goes on, it will become a little bit easier. I think as I'm so close. I'm so close of getting that garage where it needs to be, that it'll give me, the time to play with things. And we could do that together too, right? On Vintage Craft and Shop, we can play with these new things together. So that will be fun. Implement more efficient craft supply storage. That we'll be talking about that next month's topic. And again, same thing, no active sourcing for new supplies. I think my other big goal for the year, because I'm combining handmade and reselling, and people that aren't doing both, I realize that's probably, it is a challenge. It's really hard to balance that. Those can be two kind of diverse things. So as the year goes on, I want to work towards a better balance between handmade, between the making and the vintage reselling. For me, I think there's a nice crossover. I think in building up the handmade side of my business, I think those people that love vintage, I think, are probably going to be drawn to the things I make. I mean, that's how I decorate for, say, Valentine's Day, right? Like, this is an example right here. I have this sitting here because, again, I have a tutorial up, but I have all the supplies to make these. And I did a tutorial, but I didn't really make them to sell in my shop. So, this kind of thing. I think there's a huge crossover on the vintage style handmade side of bringing people into your shop with the vintage items that you're offering. Big crossover, I think. You're not, Kathy, you're not trying to start any new crafts. Okay. Well, you do the one that you do really well. You do really well. You love paper clay. I haven't worked with it. Like, I have packages that I picked up that are sitting in a drawer and I haven't done it. I'm a little intimidated about it. I'm kind of funny. Sometimes I really want to do something, but I need to get that out of my head. Sometimes I'm scared to try it. I won't do it well. It won't look the way it is in my head. And I know that's practice makes perfect, but I have to get over that. So part of that is coming back to YouTube too, really pushing myself to get over that, to get over that. We need to talk about that too, Shirley. Well, hello, Beach Cities Thrifting. So we haven't talked in person because I said I was going to message you on Instagram. It's been really crazy the past couple weeks. So I do owe you a message, or send me a message on Instagram today and then we'll connect. But Beach Cities Thrifting, she has a really good YouTube channel, really great content, and she's local here. Huntington Beach, right? Is that? So she's local to Southern California. And our sweet friend Heather, I think, kind of wanted us to connect. So yeah, goals are very important, especially for time management. Enjoying your videos. Thank you. And remind me your name too. I had it in my head and then it left with all the other things that are swirling around in here. Yet time management that's the crux of the problem, right? I often find that's the hard thing. Shirlene said, I made my own vintage paper clay ornaments for my tree. That you did, Shirlene? Are you on Instagram? Can you type in your Instagram? In fact, let me see. Beach Cities Thrifting. I have been away from YouTube and I can't remember. Is it a star? I don't know. I can't remember how to make people blue with a wrench. Maybe somebody that knows. Kathy, do you know? Shirlene, I would love to see. Let me know if you're on Instagram. Type in your Instagram page so I can go look if you have any up there. Cheryl, oh, data point. One of my uncles, when I was little growing up, he lived in Dana Point, and my other uncle, these are my grandfathers, my mom's dad's brothers, lived in Laguna Beach, and they used to own the Jolly Roger restaurant, if you remember that, like downtown Long Beach. I'm not Long Beach, Laguna Beach there. Yeah, they were the original owners of that. In fact, the original owners, I think they had maybe a third partner, and then I think maybe he bought them out, maybe of the brand eventually. But yeah, lot of so many happy memories spending time there and being at their house and hanging out. Let's see here. Holiday merchandise is important to make early enough to sell before, and I'm usually making stuff right as the holiday hits. Me too, Kathy. I mean, I'm like, oh, I'm making Valentine's stuff this week, and I haven't even posted it. Like these girls, I don't know. Am I going to get these made in time to post? So that's the other thing. I'm very behind. Like, I should be working this past summer. I should have been making all these things and ahead of the game. I should be like Magpie Ethel. I'm sure she's probably making Christmas now. I don't know. Yeah. Let's see. Oh, not on Instagram. Okay. Okay. You haven't sold any of your paper clay yet? Yeah. I think that's something that I'd have to really work at and get really, really, really good at before I would feel comfortable selling. But it looks so much fun. Um, you did? Ah, that's so fun. Oh, okay. Okay. Is that, see, I don't know. Is that, I don't know. In my head, it's all, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, the difference between Dana Point and Laguna Beach. It's all so beautiful and wonderful. I think, yeah. And I'm in Palos Verdes, Rancho Palos Verdes is where we live. But oh, that's so fun. In fact, one of the friends in our community, Jamie, she was at, I don't know, at an estate sale or something, and she found matches. I think they are matches from the Jolly Roger restaurant, which is really cool and wonderful to have. Um, you started your art ornaments in August. Yeah, I'm very, very behind. Let's see. Yeah, Jolly Roger restaurant, Jolly Roger. Did I say the wrong thing? I probably did. I don't know. I have a hard time finding my words sometimes. Yes, I saw that the other day where she took down, was it, she had the shiny bright ornament boxes up, right? And then she switched them out for the Valentine boxes on her wall. Amazing. She is so creative. She is so free in her creativity and the things that she comes up with and the concepts, right? That she comes up with. It's just so good. It's so good. Hi, Tammy. Hello, Vintage Uprising, Texas. Tammy, how do we make people blue with the wrench? I have been away from YouTube and doing lives in so long. I don't even remember how to do that. Yeah, she has two houses, right? Yeah, Kathy, doesn't she have a beach house and then their regular house? So wouldn't that be nice? As you get your main house decorated, you could move it, like buy a second one and push your creativity. So yeah, so fabulous. Yeah, Tammy, if you know how. Because that's the other thing I want to say too. My channel, I'm really welcome and love people sharing their YouTube channels, their whatever, their eBay stores. I am all about that, the sharing and the sharing the love, sharing the links. So I'm really happy to allow people to do that. I like that. That makes me feel happy when people can share their stuff. So if anybody knows how to make people blue, then I can make you guys blue and you can share your YouTube channels. So I think did I hit everything? I think I did. I mean, I have a lot of work towards, I have that here. We were just talking about that. Set daily or weekly workflow. I need to come up with a better workflow. So basically that's in a nutshell. I've been talking for an hour, but I envision and I'm hopeful that maybe some people want to participate with me. Maybe this next month, this next week, sit down and make a list. Maybe some of you already have your creative or business goals. Maybe it's both. Maybe I know Kathy's always working towards that. She wants to get her, right? Didn't she go down in your basement? Might be getting her craft room in order, getting her craft supplies in order. We all have vintage. We all collect vintage. So your goals don't have to look like my goals. They don't have to be the same goals. They're unique to you, right? Unique to your life and who you are and the things you love and the things you do and the things you surround yourself with. So they don't have to be the same. I think there's a lot of overlap with all of us. We all have things that we have in common. So there's a big overlap. Hi, Barb. Big little gal. Click the 3 dots on the right side of their name in the chat. Oh, do I do it on my phone? How come I don't see the 3 dots? I'm live. I'm in the comments. Like Kathy. Oh, I see it now. Whoops. I just saw it. Like Kathy. Wait a minute. Okay. So 3 dots. No, it says put user in timeout, ban user, and delete their comments. I don't want to do that. That's what it says on the 3 dots. So like Nettie is blue. Oh, I have to do it from my phone. Okay, so let me see. Oh, here it is. Okay. So like Kathy, here's Kathy. Okay, so Kathy's now blue. Let me go back here. I'm gonna make everybody blue. Okay. Okay, just made Cheryl blue. Yeah, and put your links in. Share your links. Who else? Barb. Add as a moderator. So I think did I do Kathy already? I think I did. Okay, yeah, good. Let's see, who else? Let me find Charlene. If you have any links you want to add in your eBay store, please do. You are more than welcome. And okay, now I'm missing. You are still in my timeout. Oh, you put Kathy on timeout. What did she do? What did Kathy do? I'm not over the brooch incident. Oh no, was it something with brooches? What was Kathy doing with brooches? She was making that cool like thing where she was storing her brooches. Hi, Apple. Hello. Working and lurking. I do that a lot. I do that an awful lot. I'm glad you're here. Oh, I was there. I saw that the other night. I think I was bad too because I said show Becky the brooch. You probably should be mad at me too. Yeah, that was a really special piece. That was really special. But I think you could probably find one. That's what we need to do. We need to find you one on eBay that's up for bid. Bye, Charlene. Thank you for coming. I hope to see you the last Thursday of next month and come back. Next week will be crafting. I am doing kind of a junk journal doilies, doily envelopes, which are super cute. So yeah, I can tell you like to craft. So we will be live next Thursday doing a vintage craft and chat. So I'm really excited. I'm very excited about next week's craft. Let's see. Probably Kathy. I know I didn't need to buy it, but I'm still licking my wounds. I know. We'll find you one. There's more. Hi, Shirley. There are more out there. I know we can. It was a really, yeah. Are you Norwegian, Barb? Or is it that you just loved it? I was almost tempted to from my stepmom. She's Norwegian, but she doesn't wear a lot of brooches. She tends to kind of stick with the same, simple, like the same necklace she wears a lot, same earrings. She likes kind of small, like small and simple. Okay, okay. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Well, maybe Becky will, yeah, want to pass it on at some point. My stepmom's family's from Iowa too. I think that aren't there a lot of Norwegians that live in Iowa? When they first got to Iowa, they lived in a mud cutout on the side of a hill. Oh my gosh. Wow. So they were probably the first settlers in Iowa. Yeah, my stepmom's family's from Iowa. I can't remember what city. We went several times when I was little. I remember it being very humid. Having come from California, we drove out in a car. And is that what they're called? Iowegians. I like it. Yes. Her dad's last name was Armstrong, which I know that's not a Norwegian last name, but I know, yeah, Armstrong on her dad's side, and then on her mom's side, Olson, right? Olson was their last name. So I wish I knew what area they lived in. That was really cool. I remember eating catfish. You know, one of the cousins went and caught catfish, so we had a big catfish fry. And yeah, all the like corn. What am I trying to say? The corn that's growing, the farms, all the agriculture. And one cousin lived on like a river. It was so beautiful. Their house was right on the river. And one of the aunts, so my grandma, my step grandma, Grandma June. One of her sisters lived in like an old farmhouse, and it was so cool. I remember when we went when I was little, maybe that was the first trip we went on, this cool old farmhouse on this big farm, and it was white and it was all wood and 2-story. It was I thought it was just the coolest thing. I thought it was the coolest thing. Yeah, I know Becky does do a lot of, things in the Norwegian community. Let's see. Kathy, I used to help the instructor of Norwegian at the Sons of Norway Club. That's so cool. Was it bullhead? Yeah, it could have been. I don't know. I don't even, it was like breaded and fried, and it was new to me. It wasn't like I grew up eating like cod. White cod, fish and chips was what I grew up on with my grandparents and stuff. That was kind of the, I don't know. That was kind of the fish and chips kind of thing we had. So yeah, it could have been. I don't know, but it was really good. I just remember it being super delicious. And then I think I've gone 2 or 3 times, maybe just twice. I went with which was a great trip. I went with my stepmom as like I think it was a young adult. I went with my stepmom and her mom, Grandma June, and the 3 of us went for a trip. And I might have gone did I maybe go with my stepmom too? Maybe just the 2 of us. I don't know. Really good memories. Let's see, there's a monument near here where I grew up. My name is on the plaque at the monument. Really? That's so cool. That is so cool. Oh, you put the link. I'm going to look at the link. Lake Mills, Iowa, Promise of American Monument. How cool is that? I'll have to ask Linda, my stepmom, and ask what part of Iowa that all her family is, and I'll write it down. And the next time I see you in one of the chats, or I'll send you a message or something on Instagram. In fact, my grandparents are buried there too. So when her dad originally died, he passed away before I was born, so I didn't get the pleasure of meeting him. And then when Grandma passed away, yeah, she moved him there, so they're both buried in Iowa with the whole rest of the family, which is really cool. And that's where they met. They met in Iowa and got married in Iowa, and then moved here to California as a young couple. That's how they ended up here. And then my stepmom and her brother were born here, and then eventually met my dad. Maybe related. Okay, I'm going to read this later, and I'll send it to my stepmom, and then I'll ask her. It'll probably like come to me later in the day. It'll just pop into my head. That's so crazy. So anyway, I think that is it in a nutshell. I think, yeah, so anybody that is watching the replay, feel free to leave in the comments any subjects you would maybe like to see us touch on and cover. We had briefly talked about next month will be organization. I'm going to make a list here. That's what we're doing in February. And that will be February 29th. And I'll probably, once I do the thumbnail, I'll go ahead and put up the thumbnail for February 29th. So you guys can check the notification. Oh, I'm a talker, Barb. Probably shared way too much information. There with the, I think Debbie, my friend Debbie, was the only one that was in the beginning. So I was like nervous talking. But yeah. If there's any subject that you'd like us to cover, leave it in the comments. Those of you that are still here, feel free to type it in now. Let's see. Oh, I had put a hashtag, I think, on my Instagram story. I had typed it into the thumbnail. I'm not sure maybe how we'll use a hashtag going forward. Maybe we can brainstorm on that a little bit. Next time we meet, but I changed it. I was thinking I changed it to 2024 Get It Done. When a couple weeks ago, I was kind of thinking like, what is my word of the year? Kind of that signifies what I want to do in the coming year and what I want to accomplish. And I was sharing this with Leanne. Simplicity kept coming into my head, right? Because I want to simplify, I want to clear out. But really, I realized Get It Done was more appropriate, because I can't simplify my life unless I get it done. If I procrastinate and I don't do these things and get it done, I will not be living. I won't have simplicity, right? So I kind of changed it. So yeah, so I changed the hashtag to 2024 Get It Done. Let's see. Okay, I think I covered everything. Really quick, next week, I know there's hardly anybody here, but I did want to give a quick sneak peek. I already have the thumbnail up for next week's craft project. I'm very excited about it. Again, that will be live here next Thursday, 11 o'clock Pacific, 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. I already have the thumbnail up, so you can go and click the notification. And I was stash busting. I thrifted. I don't even know why. Like, why did I pick those up? A huge pile of vintage doilies. Like more than a single person needs. I mean, I'm talking there must be 100 and something doilies, all different shapes, colors, sizes. So I was cleaning out part of my cupboard here, and I was like, oh my gosh, what are we gonna do with these doilies? Like, it's close to Valentine's Day. Let me come up with something. And so I came up with a craft using heart-shaped doilies. And this is the first one I did. So I kind of did 2 demos, but it is a little, I think, junk journal style envelope. made out of a heart-shaped doily. So there's the front of the envelope. I did a little, kind of a little tuck here for the tab, or the front, the tab side of the envelope to go into. And I thought, I was kind of thinking how cute it would be to hold a little gift card, maybe for your Valentine or somebody that you love. And then the back of it, I decorated with a really cute collage of vintage things, some Holt Howard stuff, made some labels, and we have all kind, I don't know, all just kind of fun and goodness. So I'm really excited. I get excited when I have things in my head and it, it comes to fruition and it happens. So anyway, so that's next week, and I have all the supplies written down. Of course, the collage part of it, use your imagination. That is the fun thing about it. I just kind of started grabbing things and using things that made me happy and that worked and kind of had the vibe I was going for, but that's the fun part of it. So I'll show you how to make the envelope, and then you can take it from there. Isn't it? I like it, Eddie. I was saying last week, sometimes crafts come very easy to me. I sit down, I have this idea in my head, and I can do it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I love it. This is so good. And sometimes they're really, sometimes they're really hard. I have an idea. Last night, kind of had this thing that popped in my head that I'm going to try for the following week. So in 2 weeks, but again, it's up here. I haven't grabbed stuff. I haven't tried to do it. Hopefully maybe over this weekend. I'd like to stay ahead. So I have, you know, enough things kind of done to kind of stay ahead. Let's see, Kathy. You have more doilies than that. Oh my God. I'm gonna pull out the big stack next week. And you guys, some of them, oh my gosh, they're not heart shaped. I need to like figure out a tutorial or a demo. I mean, obviously it's probably easier if they're not heart shaped to make an envelope, but some of them are like floral print. So I have some of them are like foil ones. In fact, Leanne was saying she had a lot of foil hearts, and would those work well? And I think those would work really well and would be really beautiful. But some of them, yeah, they're floral printed ones. They're so good. So I'll have to remember to bring those out and show those at the beginning of the craft tutorial next week. But yeah, I was like, okay, there's got to be a way. And I have seen some tutorials on like Pinterest, and maybe some people have done YouTube ones, but I'm going to show you how to do them. So they're sturdier and more usable, because if you just, like I have this, if you just do it, it's too flimsy. I don't know, but like everybody's just doing it like this, not my way. And it's flimsy. They'll rip. They need to be more sturdy. So I love what I did, and it almost makes them like fabric. It's really cool. So I would love to do. I need to take the other shapes I have, like, you know, rounds and rectangles and squares, and figure out some other, because it would be so cute for Easter. Can you imagine? And then like to put in a little Easter basket. I don't know, just like cute little love notes. And I said junk journal because to me it's a very junk journal style, but you could also put these in junk journals, right? You can glue this part of the envelope and have it be. So yeah, I think there'll be a lot of uses for them. Let's see. Oh, starch would be interesting. Starch would be very interesting to starch it. And would we starch it before we fold it? Probably, or after. We need to see how that would work. I think they do. I'm pretty sure they do. I mean, my youngest is a senior in high school. So, you know, we're a ways from elementary, and it's just elementary school. Obviously, by the time they get to middle school, they are in they're not interested in doing any of that, but I'm fairly certain, I'm sure that's a big moneymaker. The little boxes of Valentine cards at all the stores and stuff. Let's see. Can you use spray glue to put them on a piece of paper? I bet that I don't have any spray glue. Wait, maybe does Taylor have some? My daughter, she might have some spray glue. Oh, and I'm going to post on Instagram because you ladies are here and you're hanging out with me. And you're so sweet to still be hanging out with me. The one thing, and I will post on Instagram, and I think like Kelly Rashidi and maybe Leanne, a couple people have commented on the post that I put up yesterday of the what doilies I'm using. The key is to what we're going to line the envelopes with. I feel like the paper needs to be thin. So you could even use the thickness that I use. It is similar to copy paper. Let me see. Maybe a little bit thicker, but pretty darn close. I think if you try to use thick cardstock, for scrapbooking, it would make the envelopes too thick, if you know what I mean. I think they would be, I don't know, like the paper, maybe. I think it would be hard to fold them even with the barn folder, because even with the thin paper, you really have to, you don't have to use a bone folder, but something that really kind of creases the edges. And it's like paper. It is the coolest. I can't wait for you guys to do this. I don't know. It's like this weird transformation, but the doilies give it a very fabric-like feel. But I think it would be way too thick to use thick cardstock. So definitely look in your stash for thin decorative paper, or just use copy paper, colored copy paper. Washi paper may work well. Because that would actually be really gorgeous. I have some washi paper. Maybe I'll kind of play with that this coming week. I have some really gorgeous decorative washi paper. Let's see, as you fold them, that way they will keep the shape. I think if you sprayed, they may keep the shape. It may work. I think Taylor has some, my daughter, so I'll play around with that and see if it works. Because this is a pretty look, right? The lacy, pretty look, and you would have a little peekaboo of what's inside. If it's a little note, this would obviously look really cute in a journal. The one thing is that you see the color, right? You see the color through. So. But it does have her. But yeah, everybody I saw, that's what they were doing. Like here's what I had, and I didn't finish that one. I was going to use that kind of as my little, like, showing how we fold it and cut it. So this one is red, but it's definitely more of like a tomato soup red. It's not like a true red. And the paper that I put, it was more orange tone or peachy tone, so it really I didn't love it. It gave it kind of an orange tone. I don't know, when I think of Valentine's Day, I'm more of a primary red, so I don't love it. I don't love, truthfully, the way it turned out, but I like the inside, so maybe I should have flipped it. But anyway, I think it looks kind of cool, to see that. I don't know, versus like that would be, but it's just a different look. Spray mount. I think she has some of that, but maybe it's not. Maybe it's just something she uses to put. It might just be like a finish, like when she does her paintings, because I've borrowed it when I've done stuff with glitter, right? I've sprayed it on there so the glitter doesn't keep exploding everywhere. Spray mount. some kind of plastic instead of paper for lining it, like a dollar store tablecloth cut up. I think that would work well too. And then it would really be like paper. It would really be like paper. I'm trying to think. Yeah, crepe paper wouldn't work because I think that would be too thin. Plus, you really need to have a big enough piece. So that, and the ironic thing with all the doilies that I had, that I picked up at the thrift store, I don't think a lot of them were heart shaped, or they were much smaller hearts. So the ironic thing was that I picked up these heart doilies from Dollar Tree, like not even last year, probably 2 years ago, Valentine's Day. So I'm fairly certain they still have them. These are the ones I used, which are the 8x8 inch Dollar Tree brand. And I also have the, you know, this red. I wish it was a primary red. Cause like here's like, right, this is more primary red. This is one that, and like this other one that was in the ones that I thrifted. So to me, that's a better red. I don't know. Dollar Tree, you need to work on your not the tomato soup red. So anyway, okay, I'm just talking. I could talk forever. What time is it? Oh, 12:30. I have a half an hour. I have to leave at 1 to pick up my son, and I think I covered everything. Where's my thing? Yeah, I think I covered everything. I think Helen, I saw something up for Crafty Friday tomorrow afternoon, which is hosted on Helen's channel. I think, is it or just New England? I think it's just New England Thrifter. And that is at 5 p.m. tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern on her channel. And I think I'm going to be able to participate in that. I hope, at least anyway. And that's it. So I hope to see everybody here next Thursday for our craft. It's going to be a lot of fun. And that's it. And I appreciate everybody that was here for the live. It helps when somebody's kind of in the chat. So you don't feel like you're talking to yourself. Debbie kind of rescued me. And we'll see. Hopefully this will be a topic that everybody will kind of get excited about. But if not, it keeps me super accountable. But I think we can come up with some topics that, what do I want to say, that will cross over and sort of excite all of us, even though obviously I'm sure we're all going to have different goals going into the new year. So anyway, all righty. I thank you all. I love you all. I hope you do something this coming week that brings you joy, whether it's creative, whether it's, business. I get a lot of joy from my business, being with family and friends, whatever makes you happy. I hope you find time to do that in the coming week. And bye-bye. Bye, Nettie. Bye, everybody. Bye, Barb and Kathy and anybody that's still in here. Angela, I hope you're having fun with your newfound friend. You find some goodies today. Bye, Tammy. Tammy's here. All right. I love everybody. Bye-bye.